Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatuhu wa barakatuh. How are you all, my dear sisters? I hope you are all well. Well, today, inshallah, we are going to continue our journey with Tajweed. So let's share the screen with you right away. Well, before we start our lesson for today, I would like only to tell you something about the shorts, which explain the position of the tongue when we pronounce ra mufakhama and ra muraqaqa. And this is what's remained from the previous lesson when we were explaining about the ra when it is mufakham and when it is muraqqaq and when both are permissible. This is the shape of the tongue when we pronounce ra muraqqaqa, and this is when we pronounce ra mufakhama. Notice the difference with ra mufakhama, the back of the tongue is raised and there is a curvature in the middle part of the tongue, while with ra muraqqaqa or light ra, there is nothing like this. So pay attention, my dear sister, for the position of your tongue. Ra mufakhama and ra muraqqaqa. Of course, this is a side-in picture. So nobody will say, okay, well, see, here the tip of the tongue is making full contact. No, this is a side-in from the side. But with the ra, the middle part is left free to allow the sound to go through and to forbid the ra from being repeated more than once, which is not acceptable or flipping. Well, now we are going to start our lesson for today. Today, inshallah, we are going to take the last characteristic of the group of characteristics which have opposites. If you remember, we said characteristics are divided into two groups, group with opposites, and the second group is group with no opposites. And we said the group of opposites, they are foreign numbers, and those are binary characteristics, which mean that each Arabic letter must have one of each of those four. We talked the first one, Hamza and Jafr. Second one, رخاوة بينية توسط. And third one, استعلاء and استفال. And we said that the outcome of this, it is تفخيم and ترقيق. And now it is the fourth and the last characteristic of the group with opposites, which is الإطباق. الإطباق against الإنفتاح. Or adhesion against opening. My dear sisters, I would like you to remember that when we were talking about the third characteristic, which is elevation against lowering or al-isti'la against istifal, we were talking about the direction of the sound. We were talking about the direction of the sound. With isti'la, the sound or elevation, the sound is directed to the dome of the palate. Yes? And that's why there is echo will be and there will be tafkhim. And with lowering letter, the sound does not rise to the dome of the palate. It descends. That's why there will be no echo, and that's why those letters will have tarqiq or will be muraqqaq, light. إطباق and انفتاح related to the sound. Over there, we were talking about the direction of the sound. إطباق and انفتاح, it is related to the confinement of the sound between the tongue and the upper palate. I will repeat. إطباق and انفتاح, or adhesion and opening, is related to the confinement of the sound between the tongue and the upper palate. Well, I would like just to imagine something, my dear sister. If we imagine, for example, that we have a room like, I hope the math will help me. This is a room, okay, with a dome at the top, okay? This is a dome, okay? And there is another room like this. This is a dome, okay? This room with a dome. When I will talk here, the sound will go up and then come back, go up and come back more than one time. And this is what we call the echo, and this is what makes the letter مفخم, because it's the sound is directed to the dome of the room. Go, come back, go and come back, go and come back. This will cause echo to be happen. Imagine if the same happened, but the floor of the room is just here and the dome is directly over the floor. So in this case, and also I'm going to direct the sound to the roof, to the roof of the room or the dome of the room. So the sound will go and come back. So the same, but here it will be more, much more, much, much more, because the size here, it's tiny. It's very tiny. Make comparison between this size and this. The least the size is, the area is, the echo will be more, the tafkhim will be more. The area will be larger, the echo will be less, the tafkhim will be less. This is physics. This is not tajweed. This is science. This is physics. So this is what happened, my dear sisters. This what's happening with elevated letter, with musta'li letter, with the letters which when we pronounce them, the sound is directed to the roof of the mouth or the dome of the palate. Those are 7, you remember? They are قصة, yes, ضغط, قذ. Yes, and they are 7 in numbers, yes? And we said that the rest of the Arabic letters, which are going to be 29 minus 7, they are going to 22, they are elevated letters, which means that the sound does not rise towards the dome of the palate. Okay? Those mustali letters or elevated letters, 4 of them, the sound will be like this. The floor is just under the dome. Those are going to be صاد, ضاد, and طاء, and ظا. Those 4 letters, when we pronounce them, the sound, yes, it rises toward the roof of the mouth or the dome of the palate, but not only this, it is confined. The sound is confined between the tongue and the upper palate, like this room. Imagine this is the tongue and this is the upper palate. Thus the sound is confined between the tongue and the upper palate. So logically the echo will be more, so the tafkhim will be more than the rest of the 7 letters. Here it's the rest will be ghayn, ha, and ha. Yes, because you take away the sad, dod, va, and ta. Yeah. So the rest, ghayn and ha and qaf, the sound is directed to the dome of the palate, but it's not confined like here between the tongue and the upper palate. That's why, as I explained to you, it's physics. The echo here will be much more than the echo here. So the tafkhim here will be much more than the tafkhim with those 3 letters. Fine? This difference is most, you can notice it more when we pronounce those letters when they have kasra. Three, not like ri. Di, not like he. Ti, not like qi. Vi, not like he. There is difference with all the short vowels, but with kasra, it is most noticeable. You can notice it easily. Okay? Very well. My My dear sisters, so both tone and va, they have two strong characteristics, which are they are elevated, مستعلي, and مطبق, and has adhesion, While غين and ha and qaf have only one strong. We talk about those, the third and the fourth. Now, we are not talking about the first and second of the characteristics with opposites. We are talking about استعلاء, استفال, and إطباق الإنفتاح. غين and ha and qaf regarding those two characteristics have only one strong characteristic, which is elevated استعلاء, while they are منفتح, opening, because the sound is not confined like here between the tongue and the upper. So when we talk about the Arabic letters regarding إطباق and إنفتاح, they are divided into two groups. The first group is مطبق, and they are only those four letters, which are four from those seven, four from the elevated letters. When we pronounce them, the sound is confined between the tongue and upper palate. The rest of the Arabic letters, which are, remember, the elevated letters, the lower letters, مستفلة letter, they were 29 minus 7, they were 22. Plus, we have 3 of elevated letter of مستعلي letter, they are not having adhesion, or they are not مطبق. They are غين and ha and qaf. So 22 plus 3. So منفتح letter, they are going to be 25 letters. What happens when we pronounce them? The sound does not confine between the tongue and the upper part. 3. غين and ha and qaf from the elevated letter, and all the lower letter, مستفل letter, of course, they have opening, or they are منفتح letters. Because from the start, when we explained about the lower letter or مستفل letter, we said that the sound does not rise to the roof of the mouth or the dome of the palate. So from where it will be confined or between the tongue and the upper palate. No way, because it already does not rise to the roof of the mouth or the dome of the palate. It descends. Fine? This is number 1. Let's read this from the book of Dr. Aymen Swaid, may Allah bless him. Well, Adhesion, الإطباق, and opening الإنفتاح. The Arabic letters, according to the confinement of sound between the tongue and the palate, divided into two groups, has adhesion مطبقة. When pronouncing them, sound is confined between the tongue and the upper palate, and they are, well, so sorry, we still recordings, but there was a problem in the net, but you are going to continue recording. I'm going to continue, inshallah. The second group, we said that the first group is the group which has adhesion or مطبقة. The second group has openings or منفتحة. When pronouncing them, sound is not confined between the tongue and the upper palate, and they are the rest of the alphabetical letters. Okay? Very well. Now we want to see a chart how the tongue will be, the shape of the tongue, when we pronounce a letter, an elevated مطبق letter, an elevated letter with adhesion or مستعلي مطبق. Elevated and adhesion, مستعلي and مطبق. And we said that there are only 4. Yeah, here. صاد, ضاد, and طاء, and ظا. We are going to take the ظا as an example. Remember, I'll try it with me kindly. It is the tip of the tongue with the tip of the upper central incisor. Yes? Feel it. Feel where is the tongue. It's like here. The sound really is confined between the tongue and the upper palate. So that number 1, the sound is directed to the roof of the mouth or the dome of the palate. Number 1. Plus, number 2, the sound is confined between the tongue and the upper palate. So 2 strong characteristics. Okay? The same like طا, try it with me, up, up, that it's the tip of the tongue with the roots of the upper central incisor. Up, it's confined. Up, the dog. Up, of course, it's confined. Of course. Fine, fine. Okay. As we explained, my dear sisters, we said that منفتح letters, or the letters who has opening, they are all the lowered letters, مستفلة letters, plus the three which are remaining from the مستعلي letters or elevated letters, the غين, the ha, the قاف. Because yes, when we pronounce them, the sound directed to the dome of the palate, but it's not confined between the tongue and the upper tongue. Those shorts explain how we pronounce letters which have انفتاح or opening. This an example for an elevated open letters. مستعلي منفتح. Like the قاف, we say that they are four. Yes, you remember? I would like to have first. I would like to have this panel here. I need the pen. Okay, just wait, thank you. Yes, this pen. Remember we said that we have the ha and the qaf and the ghain. They are elevated, مستعلي, but opened, but منفتح. مستعلي منفتح. We will take the qaf as an example. أق. Remember the articulation point of qaf? Think 3 seconds. Perfect. Never ever, kindly, my dear sister, forget anything we study in Tajweed. Never ever. We will need it always, always, always. Qaf, it is the back of the tongue or the farthermost part of the tongue with the soft palate. Aq. When we pronounce the qaf, the sound directed to the dome of the palate, but is not confined, not like with wa, not like with dad. So it's musta'li because the sound directed to the dome of the palate, but it's munfatih, it's open because the sound is not confined between the tongue and the upper palate. And this is another example for munfatih letter, but mustafil. Munfatih, mustafil. Lowered and has openings. Lowered, which are any one of the 22 letters, anyone. We take the kaf. Kaf, it's from the same area, back of the tongue, the farthermost part of the tongue, but with the area between the heart and the soft palate. With the area between the heart and the soft palate. When we pronounce them, my dear sisters, the sound, first, it's lowered, mustafil, because the sound does not rise to the roof of the mouth or the dome of the palate. The sound descends. Number 2, it's open. It's logic how it's going to be mutbaq or has adhesion, and the sound is not directed to the roof of the mouth or the dome of the palate. No way. So all the lowered letters are munfatiha. All the lowered letters has openings. Opening. All the mustafil letters are munfatiha. All. But mustali divided into 2 groups. صاد ضاد طا ظا مطبق and غين خاء قاف منفتح or open. Okay. So sound is not confined between the tongue and the upper palate for an open letter. Qaf is an open letter. It's elevated but open. It's mustali but munfatih. And kaf also, it's an open letter. It's mustafil, logically lowered and munfatih. Okay? Fine. Now we are going to see to all the 3 shorts together to make comparison between the closed with mutbaq and opened munfatih. elevated and lowered, مستعلي and مستفل. We are going to take the three examples. We did take the va and the qaf and the kaf, which we explained already, but they are all together here beside each other, because when you make comparison between the things will be clearer, will be clearer. What? Clearer, sorry. Oh, sorry. It will be clearer in your mind, okay? When you make comparison between the different things, everything will be more clearer, much clearer, really in your mind. It will stick to your mind more. This is when I'm pronouncing a letter with إطباق, استعلاء, and إطباق. The va letter with استعلاء, elevated, and إطباق, adhesion. Va sound directed to the dome and confined between the tongue and the upper palate. Here, when we pronounce a letter with استعلاء, elevation, and انفتاح, opening, like the qaf. Yes, the sound directed to the dome of the palate, but is not confined, not like here. You see? That's why the tafkhim here is much more stronger than tafkhim here. Because as we said, here we have two strong characteristics, which are استعلاء and إطباق, elevation and adhesion. Here it would be less, because I have here one strong characteristic, which is استعلاء only. It's strong characteristic, استعلاء, elevation. But انفتاح, it's weak. انفتاح, it's opening. Okay? And here, this is the shape of the tongue when I pronounce a letter with istifal, lowering, and انفتاح, opening, like the kaf. The sound descends from the beginning, from the very start. The sound descends. The sound does not rise to the roof of the mouth or the dome of the palate, and logically it will be opened. Because opening, if you remember, we said opening means that the sound is not confined between the tongue and the upper palate. Okay? It's easy. It's not difficult. What I need you to remember that with the elevated letters with adhesion, استعلاء letters with إطباق, the tafkhim will be much more than استعلاء, elevation, with انفتاح, with opening, which are the ghain, the kha, and the qaf. This is very essential, especially when they have the kasra. Especially when they have the kasra, it will be very obvious, very, very obvious. Okay? Okay. My dear sister, here we are going to read some examples which are very important to note the difference between the tafkhim when I pronounce elevated, مستعلي, and مطبق letters, مستعلي, مطبق, elevated, with adhesion, which are the صاد, the ضاد, and the ta, and the va, and when I pronounce مستعلي منفتح, when I pronounce elevated with opening, which are the ghain, the kha, and the qaf. Remember that the tafkhim with those four is going to be more than the tafkhim with those three, and they are all elevated letters. Do not forget that. And we said that it will be more obvious and more noticeable when we pronounce it with kasra. But always there is difference. We are going to read this from the book of Dr. Aymen Swaid. May Allah reward him. Okay. The 7 استعلاء elevated letters are 2 parts. The استعلاء letters are divided into 2 parts or 2 groups. Number 1, we talk about the استعلاء, elevation, elevated letters. Number 1, with elevation, استعلاء, and adhesion, إطباق. مستعلية, مطبقة. They are 4 letters: صاد, ضاد, طاء, and ظا. Second part or second group with elevation, استعلاء, because we are talking about the letters of استعلاء. We said the 7 letters are 2 parts. This is the first part. The second with elevation, استعلاء, and openings انفتاح. مستعلية منفتحة. They are three letters عين قاء and قاف. So the elevated letters with إطباق مستعلي مطبق, which are those, has more تفخيم than the opened elevated letters, more تفخيم than مستعلي منفتح, which are those. So صاد ضاد طاء ظا has more تفخيم than عين حاء قاف. Okay. Let's read the examples. Because when we read the example, it will be clearer, inshallah. Okay. ضامر. Listen to the sound of ضاد with فتحة. ضا. ضا. Try it with me. ضامر. It will be more, it has more تفخيم than غالب. غا. You see? So the ضاد, let me have a pen. Okay, let me change the color. Okay. The ضا with فتحة. ضا. غين with فتحة. غا. Of course, there's difference. Here, we have more تفخيم than here. Because this is elevated and has adhesion. مستعلي مطبق. But this has elevation but opening. مستعلي منفتح. والطاء والضمة وطو طو طو وطو. It has more تفخيم than وقوموا than the قاف والضمة. So the طاء والضمة sorry, has more تفخيم than قاف والضمة. طو 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 طو, because here it has two strong characteristics. We talk about the third and the fourth. We are not talking about the first and the second. We are talking about استعلاء استفالة and إطباق انفتاح. مستعلي مطبق. More تفخيم than مستعلي منفتح. Okay. Let's go to when we pronounce it with كسرة. كسرة, it's more clearer, much more clearer. You will notice it more. When I pronounce this word, we'll take this pen. ضيزة, ضيزة, or عظيم, عظيم, ضي, ضي. Has more تفخيم than قي, قيلة, وغيضة, وخيفة. We are talking about this قاف, قي, غي, and خي. Of course, had less تفخيم than ضي and ضي. Different. يعني a huge difference, huge difference. With كسرة, it's very obvious. You can notice it easily. ضي, ضيزة, عظي, ضي. More تفخيم than قي, ضي, قي, ضيزة, قيل, غيظ, خيفة. Okay? Well, this is all about our today's lesson. By this way, my dear sister, we have ended, alhamdulillah, we have finished the group of characteristics of the fact which has opposites. And tomorrow is the first day of the first of the new month. So we are going to take, as usual, our week leave. We will stop for 1 week. So we will meet next Sunday, inshallah. Before I explain more, I would like to stop the recording and then I will talk together. So, salamullahi alaikum wa rahmatuhu wa barakatuh.